I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here goes. I'm Ethan, 38, a software developer. My family owns Serenity Estates, a vineyard we all grew up on. Dad runs the show Old School, all about appearances. My older sister, Claire, she's always been the golden child, perfect grades, perfect everything. Then there's Daniel, the baby who can do no wrong. Me, I'm just there, always helping, always fixing things, but never really seen. We've always been about upholding the family name, but the price has been high. Now something's happened, something that makes me question everything I thought I knew about them. How could they do this to me? The harvest festival. The air was thick with the smell of fermenting grapes and wood smoke. I'd just gotten back from patching up a faulty irrigation line again. Dad clapped me on the back, a rare show of affection, and led me towards the makeshift stage. Son, glad you could make it. Claire has an announcement. My stomach dropped to my knees. Claire, radiant in a cream-colored dress, stepped up to the microphone. After years of hard work, she began, her voice amplified across the vineyard, I'm thrilled to announce that I'll be taking over as CEO of Serenity Estates. The crowd roared. Dad beamed. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. CEO. But just 6 months ago, Serenity Estates was about to go under. I remember the way Dad looked, defeated. I emptied my savings, $720,000, based on a verbal promise that I'd have a say in the future. No mention of that now, not a word. Later, I found them celebrating in the tasting room. Ethan, come join us, Dad called like nothing was wrong. Claire raised her glass. To the future. I cornered him after everyone was too drunk to notice. Dad, what about the money? What about what we talked about? He just laughed, a booming, dismissive sound. Ethan, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Claire has an MBA. This is about what's best for the family. You're good with computers, not running a business. My hands trembled so badly I had to set my wine glass down. I found Mom later, hoping for some understanding. Mom, I saved the vineyard with my money. She gave me a sympathetic but vacant smile. It's just business, darling. After everything we've done for you, you need to think about what's best for the family. This isn't about you. The words echoed in my head. Was I really making a big deal out of nothing? Or was I just invisible? A cold wave washed over me as I realized this wasn't an isolated incident. This was a pattern. I called Mom the next day. Can we talk? My voice sounded small, even to my own ears. Of course, Ethan, what's troubling you? Her tone was soothing, practiced. About Claire and the vineyard. Oh, Ethan, not this again. Deflection. I could practically hear her rolling her eyes. Honestly, I thought you'd be happy for your sister. Happy? I drained my savings, Mom. I saved the estate. My heart pounded like a drum against my ribs. Now, Ethan, don't exaggerate. It wasn't all your money. A lie, a blatant, infuriating lie. And besides, your father and I always intended to pay you back, eventually. Eventually, when, after Claire runs it into the ground, the words exploded out of me sharper than I intended. Ethan, that's your sister you're talking about, and don't be ridiculous. Claire is brilliant, you're just jealous. Guilt trip, classic. Jealous. I just want some recognition for what I did, for what I sacrificed. Sacrificed? Oh, please, you're acting like we forced you. You chose to invest, she sighed dramatically. Honestly, Ethan, everyone has problems. You're not special. False equivalence. My throat closed up, words trapped inside. But I started, then faltered. What was the point? We're family, Ethan. We should support each other. Why are you making this so difficult? Difficult? I'm the one making it difficult. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. My face burned with humiliation. Look, Ethan, your father and I are very busy. We don't have time for these dramatics. Just try to be happy for Claire, for the family. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, the dial tone a mocking drone in my ear. They weren't going to acknowledge it. They weren't going to apologize. That never happened the way you're describing. The gaslighting was insidious, a slow poison. I was a fool. I hung up, the weight of their dismissal crushing me. Had I imagined the near foreclosure? Had I imagined my father's desperation? Maybe I was just overreacting. Maybe I was just selfish. But a small, defiant voice whispered in the back of my mind. No, this wasn't right. This wasn't fair. They were wrong. A week later. My phone buzzed incessantly. Family group chat. A barrage of photos from Daniel's impromptu birthday barbecue at Serenity Estates. clamoring for me to join. Daniel, where you at, bro? Party's jumpin'. Claire, Ethan, we miss you. Come celebrate with us. Mom, Ethan, your father wants to see you. It's been too long. Each message felt like a tiny pinprick. It was a trap, I knew it. An opportunity for them to smooth things over, to pretend everything was normal, to further minimize my feelings. I ignored the first few. Then Mom called. Ethan, darling, why aren't you here? Daniel's really disappointed. Her voice dripped with saccharine guilt. I'm busy, Mom. A lie. I was staring at code, accomplishing nothing. Busy? On a Saturday? Don't be ridiculous. Your family needs you. Family. The word tasted like ash in my mouth. I'm not really in a celebratory mood, Mom. Oh, Ethan, please don't be like this. Your father's feeling bad about everything. Just come for Daniel. The manipulative layers were suffocating. I can't, Mom. Ethan, her voice sharpened. Don't be selfish. Daniel only turns 28 once. You know how much he loves you. I'll call him later. Fine, she snapped. But don't say we didn't try. The call ended. Why was I still putting up with this? I flashed back to my 10th birthday. Dad had promised to take me fishing, something I'd looked forward to all year. But then Claire got a last-minute invite to a prestigious debate camp, and suddenly the fishing trip was canceled. Family comes first, Ethan, Dad had said, his hand heavy on my shoulder. Claire needs this opportunity. I spent the day alone in my room, staring at my unused fishing rod. A tension headache began to throb behind my eyes. My stomach churned. Another message from Dad. Robert, Ethan, your brother misses you. Family is everything. I stared at the words, a cold fury rising within me. I typed a reply. Ethan, give him my best. I can't make it tonight. Tell him I'll take him out next week. I switched my phone to silent. Later that week, I found myself at the Digital Brew, Marcus's favorite coffee shop, a haven for startup founders and tech enthusiasts. Marcus had been at the Harvest Festival, he knew. I hadn't spoken to him since. He waved me over, his face etched with concern. Ethan, good to see you, man. You okay? You've been MIA. I hesitated. Yeah, fine, just busy. I knew it was a pathetic attempt at deflection. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Busy brooding? Look, I saw what happened at the festival. That was rough. I shifted uncomfortably in my seat. It's nothing really, family stuff. I tried to minimize it, downplay the hurt. Family stuff, Ethan, they announced your sister as CEO after you saved their asses. That's not just family stuff. I took a sip of my latte, avoiding his gaze. It's complicated. Complicated how? Did they forget to thank you? Did they accidentally promote the wrong sibling? Come on, Ethan. I sighed, the weight of the past weeks pressing down on me. Okay, fine, they've always been like this. Claire gets everything, Daniel gets away with everything, I just help. I paused, searching for the right words. Remember when Dad promised me that internship at the tech company during college? Claire decided she wanted to try coding. I was out. He told me I understood, that she needed the experience more than I did. Marcus frowned. That's messed up, man. That's actually not normal family behavior, Ethan. I continued, the words starting to flow more freely. And the summers I spent working in the vineyard, fixing equipment, doing the books, they always acted like it was my duty, never acknowledging it as anything special. Marcus's expression hardened. You realize that's manipulative, right? They've been taking advantage of you for years. He paused, his voice softening. I saw your face when Claire was announced. You looked like you'd been punched in the gut. I thought they'd appreciate it, that they'd see what I did. Appreciate it. Ethan, you deserve to be treated with basic respect. If anyone else treated you that way, would you accept it? The question hung in the air, heavy and unavoidable. I thought of my colleagues, my friends. If they had dismissed my contributions, belittled my efforts, I would have cut them out of my life immediately. No, I admitted softly, I wouldn't. Exactly. So why are you letting your family do it? You deserve better, Ethan. You poured your life savings into that vineyard. That's not a small thing. He leaned forward, his eyes filled with genuine concern. They used you, Ethan, and they didn't even have the decency to thank you. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. He was right. They had used me, and I had let them, for years. A wave of anger washed over me, hot and intense, but beneath it a sense of clarity began to dawn. You're right, I said, my voice stronger now. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep letting them treat me like this. Marcus nodded. Good, now what are you going to do about it? He paused, a thoughtful look on his face. You know revenge is a dish best served cold, he smirked. And success is the sweetest revenge of all. I stared at him, a slow smile spreading across my face. He was right. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their validation. I had the skills, the knowledge, and now the motivation to build something of my own, something that they couldn't ignore. I'm going to build something, I said, my voice filled with a newfound resolve. Something they'll regret underestimating. From that moment, everything changed. The pain was still there, but it was no longer paralyzing. It was fuel. A fire burning within me, pushing me forward towards a future where I would be seen, valued, and respected. And my family, they would learn that underestimating Ethan was the biggest mistake they ever made. Weeks later, I get a call. Industry friend. Serenity Estate's biggest competitor, Golden Grove Vineyards, is drowning in debt. Bad management, failing crops. He needs a tech-savvy investor. My blood runs cold. Golden Grove. Opportunity. A memory surfaces, Dad years ago scoffing at Golden Grove's owner. Amateurs, they'll never last. The hypocrisy is suffocating. I dig. Late nights fueled by caffeine and righteous fury. My skills sharpen. I find vulnerabilities, hidden costs, a plan forms. A ruthless, brilliant plan. Then the discovery. Buried deep in Golden Grove's financials, a hidden clause. Serenity Estates had been secretly propping them up for years, siphoning funds from our profits. Dad, desperate to maintain the illusion of success, had been gambling with my future. With the vineyard's future, something snaps. Years of resentment, of being overlooked, of quiet suffering shatter. The fog clears. The anxiety dissipates. I see it all now. The manipulation, the lies, the blatant disregard. My hands clench. My back straightens. A strange calm settles over me. I am done. I don't shout. I don't cry. I simply decide they wanted a business. They wanted a legacy. I'll give them one. Golden Grove will be mine. I will crush them, and I will make them watch. This isn't about revenge. It's about taking what's mine. It's about showing them what they lost. It's about teaching them a lesson they will never forget. I am coming for everything. The plan solidified. Golden Grove would be my weapon. For weeks I'd been a machine, researching, planning. I needed to become CEO. That meant investors. A pitch deck was crucial. Mine was a masterpiece, lean financials, cutting-edge tech integrations, a clear path to profitability. I scoured LinkedIn, targeting venture capitalists who specialized in agricultural turnarounds. Dozens of emails sent, a handful of promising leads. Phone calls scheduled. This was it. Sink or swim, I needed to be ready for them. Golden Grove's existing management was a mess, inefficient, resistant to change. I compiled reports on their failings, highlighting areas for immediate improvement. Marketing strategies needed an overhaul. Distribution channels were outdated. Technology was practically non-existent. My pitch highlighted these weaknesses, positioning myself as the solution. I also consulted with a lawyer. Ironclad contracts, non-disclosure agreements, protection against potential lawsuits. I couldn't afford any slip-ups. I needed complete control. I spent hours reviewing the documents, ensuring every detail was perfect. This was war, and I needed to be prepared for every eventuality. The family was another matter. Dealing with them would be like navigating a minefield. I knew what to expect. Dad would be angry, defensive. Claire would be condescending, dismissive. Mom would try to play peacemaker, urging me to think of the family. Daniel would be unpredictable. I needed to anticipate their tactics. Guilt trips, emotional blackmail, attempts to undermine my confidence. I practiced my responses in the mirror, cold, calm, calculated, no emotion. This was business. Marcus called. Hey, Ethan, just checking in. How's the hostile takeover coming? It's progressing. I have a meeting with investors next week. That's great. You ready to face the music? I think so. Remember what we talked about. Don't let them get to you. Stick to the plan, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Thanks, Marcus. I appreciate it. Anytime, man. You've got this. His support was invaluable. A reminder that I wasn't alone. That what I was doing was justified. My biggest fear was Dad's reaction. He might try to sabotage my efforts. He might try to appeal to my sense of loyalty. He might even threaten me. I had to be prepared for anything. I reread the emails and texts from the past few years, evidence of his manipulation, reminders of his condescension. I needed to stay focused. I visualized the confrontation. Me standing tall, Dad looking defeated. Claire speechless. It was a powerful image, one that fueled my determination. I chose my outfit carefully, a dark suit, a crisp white shirt, a power tie. I wanted to project confidence and authority. I practiced my opening statement, clear, concise, unambiguous. I spent the morning meditating, trying to calm my nerves, deep breaths, focus on the present, let go of the past. The financial records for Serenity Estates were secured in a safe deposit box. My lawyer had copies of all relevant documents. My business plan was bulletproof. I was ready, but anxiety still gnawed. What if I failed? What if Dad somehow convinced the investors that I was unfit to run Golden Grove? What if this whole thing backfired, leaving me even more isolated and vulnerable? No, I pushed the thoughts aside. I couldn't afford to doubt myself. I had come too far, I had sacrificed too much. It was time. I drove towards Serenity Estates. The familiar landscape was unsettling, the rolling hills, the rows of vines, the scent of grapes in the air. It all felt tainted. I pulled up to the main house, the same porch where Dad had announced Claire as CEO. The place where my life had begun to unravel. I parked the car, took a deep breath, checked my reflection in the rearview mirror. My face was grim, determined. One last thought flickered through my mind. Remember who you are. Remember what they did. Remember what you deserve. I stepped out of the car, closed the door, and walked towards the house. No turning back now. Months later, harvest season again. The air, thick with false nostalgia, stung my nostrils. I drove my black BMW up the long, familiar drive to Serenity Estates. Except this time, I wasn't here to fix a broken tractor or balance the books. This time, I was the wolf at the door. I killed the engine and stepped out, the gravel crunching under my expensive Italian shoes. The house looked the same, imposing, pristine, a monument to a carefully constructed lie. Dad Robert stood on the porch, arms crossed, his face a mask of controlled fury. Claire was beside him, her usual polished facade cracking around the edges. The air crackled with unspoken animosity. I walked towards them, my pace steady, my gaze unwavering. The Ethan they knew was gone. In his place stood something different. "Ethan," Robert said, his voice tight. "What do you want?" I stopped at the foot of the porch steps, looking up at them. "Straight to the point, Dad. I appreciate that." I smiled, a cold, humorless expression. "Golden Grove is doing exceptionally well, exceeding all projections. In fact, we're looking to expand." I paused, letting the words hang in the air. "I'm here to make you an offer," Claire scoffed. "An offer after everything you've done? You think we'd sell to you?" "Everything I've done," I repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Or everything you let me do." I pulled a file folder from my briefcase, the leather smooth and cool against my palm. "I'm offering you fair market value for Serenity Estates, enough to ensure your financial security for life. You can retire comfortably, travel the world, whatever your heart desires." Robert's face paled. "You think you can just waltz in here and buy us out?" "This is our legacy, Ethan, our family." "Legacy?" I laughed, a short, sharp sound. "What legacy? A legacy of lies and manipulation. A legacy of overlooking the one person who actually cared about this place." I opened the folder, pulling out a document. "This offer is contingent upon your immediate resignation from all positions within Serenity Estates and a signed non-compete agreement." Claire stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "This is a power play, Ethan. You're doing this to hurt us." "No, Claire," I said, my voice low and steady. "It's just business. This is my business now." I met her gaze, unflinching. "You had your chance, but you sold it out for a degree and a few shiny diplomas." Robert's face was now a mottled red. He took a step towards me, his hands clenched into fists. "You think you've won, Ethan. You think money can buy you happiness." "Happiness is irrelevant," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "This isn't about happiness, it's about respect, something you never gave me." He stopped, his shoulders slumping. The fight seemed to drain out of him. "What do you want from us, Ethan?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I want you to remember who built this," I said, my voice ringing with a newfound power. "I want you to remember who sacrificed everything to save this place. And I want you to understand that you made a mistake." Claire scoffed again, her voice dripping with disdain. "So you're just going to buy us out and leave us with nothing?" "You'll have more than enough," I said, my gaze fixed on Robert. "And you'll have plenty of time to think about the choices you made." Robert stared at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of anger and something else. Regret, fear, I couldn't tell. "You've become the thing we were all afraid of," he said, his voice heavy with defeat. "I'm the competitor, the threat, the one you never saw coming. And this," I said, gesturing to the vineyard, "is my kingdom now." I flipped the folder closed, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. "The offer stands for 24 hours, think about it." I turned to leave, but Claire blocked my path. "You think this makes you happy, Ethan? You're wrong. You'll never be happy." I looked at her, her face contorted with rage and desperation. "Those tactics don't work on me anymore, Claire. Save your breath." I stepped around her, my shoulder brushing against hers. As I reached the car, Robert called out, his voice desperate. "Ethan, wait." I paused, but didn't turn around. "What do you want me to say?" he pleaded. "What do you want me to do?" I turned slowly, meeting his gaze. "I'm done sacrificing my well-being for your comfort." I walked to my car and opened the door. "This ends now. I'm not asking, I'm telling you." I got into the car, started the engine, and drove away, leaving them standing on the porch, silhouetted against the setting sun. I didn't look back. The road ahead was clear, and for the first time in my life I was in control. My hands trembled as I drove away from Serenity Estates, the image of my defeated father seared into my mind. The adrenaline that had coursed through me during the confrontation began to fade, replaced by a wave of exhaustion. I pulled over to the side of the road, my body shaking uncontrollably. I closed my eyes, focusing on my breathing, trying to regain control. Had I gone too far? Had I become the monster they always thought I was? Doubts gnawed at me, whispering insidious lies in my ear. I opened my eyes and looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror. The man staring back at me was different, stronger certainly, but also colder. Had I lost myself in the pursuit of justice? I took a deep breath and started the car. I needed to get away from here. I needed to clear my head. I drove to Marcus's place, the only place I knew I could find genuine support. He answered the door, his face etched with concern. "Ethan, what happened? You look like you've seen a ghost." I stumbled inside, collapsing onto his couch. "It's done, Marcus." I confronted them. I made them an offer. Marcus sat beside me, his hand resting on my shoulder. And it was awful. They were angry, defensive. Claire tried to guilt-trip me. "Dad, I don't know." He looked broken. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. "You did what you had to do, Ethan. They pushed you too far." "But did I? Am I becoming like them?" The words tumbled out of me, fueled by anxiety and self-doubt. Marcus shook his head. "No, Ethan, you're not. You're standing up for yourself. You're taking control of your life. That's not the same as being manipulative or cruel." I leaned back against the couch, closing my eyes. "I hope you're right, Marcus. I really hope you're right." He stayed with me for hours, listening patiently as I recounted every detail of the confrontation. He offered words of encouragement, reminding me of my strength, my resilience. Finally, as the first rays of dawn peeked through the curtains, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I had done the right thing. Maybe, just maybe, I could build a future for myself, a future free from the toxic patterns of my past. 6 weeks have passed since that day. Serenity Estates is a shadow of its former self. Golden Grove is thriving. I've poured every ounce of energy into the business, transforming it into a force to be reckoned with. The old management is gone, replaced by a team of talented, dedicated professionals who share my vision. Sales are up, costs are down, and the future looks brighter than ever. The family dynamics are complicated. Robert calls occasionally, his voice filled with a mixture of remorse and resentment. He wants to reconcile, to pretend that everything is normal, but I can't. The trust is gone. The wounds are too deep. I keep the conversations short, polite, but distant. Claire refuses to acknowledge me. She sees me as the enemy, the destroyer of her dreams. She sends scathing emails filled with insults and accusations. I ignore them. Her words have no power over me anymore. Mom still tries to play peacemaker, but her efforts are futile. She doesn't understand the depth of the betrayal, the years of accumulated pain. She wants things to go back to the way they were, but that's impossible. The past is the past, and I'm not going back. Daniel, surprisingly, has been the most supportive. He calls regularly, genuinely concerned about my well-being. He admits that the family has always treated me unfairly, that I deserve better. He's even offered to come work for me at Golden Grove, an offer I'm seriously considering. Extended family and old friends are divided. Some applaud my success, praising my courage and determination. Others whisper behind my back, accusing me of being greedy and vindictive. I've learned to tune out the noise, to focus on the people who truly care about me. There are moments late at night when doubts creep in. Was it worth it? Did I sacrifice too much? Will I ever be truly happy? But then I remember the feeling of standing on the porch, facing my father, finally asserting my worth. I remember the look on his face, the realization that he had underestimated me, and the doubts fade away. I've learned that family isn't always blood. Sometimes family is the people who support you, who believe in you, who lift you up when you're down. I've found that family in Marcus, in my new team at Golden Grove, and perhaps in Daniel. I've learned that success is more rewarding than familial approval. That building something with my own hands, on my own terms, is more fulfilling than chasing the validation of others. I've learned that some bonds are irreparable, that sometimes the only way to move forward is to let go of the past. My current emotional state, it's a work in progress. I'm still healing, still processing the trauma of my past, but I'm also hopeful, excited about the future. I'm building a life for myself, a life that is authentic, meaningful, and fulfilling. I'm no longer the invisible son, the overlooked brother. I'm Ethan, the CEO of Golden Grove Vineyards, and I'm finally in control. The road ahead won't be easy. I still have family to deal with, old wounds to heal, and new challenges to overcome. Am I wrong for cutting them off, even though they are family? Should I at least try to mend things with my mother, or is it best to keep my distance?